that there is no enlightenment at all. So when once that hits you, it's like an earthquake. I have to give this simile. I often repeat that simile. So everything that is there is destroyed. So what you are left with is something you will never know. So when once you, out of your enthusiasm to communicate something, that there is no spiritual content in this at all, whatever happened to me has happened. And it's the pure and simple physical and physiological functioning of this body. There's nothing there. In the sense that planet is not in danger. We are in danger because we have disturbed the natural harmony that is there. And it is the religious thinking that is responsible for separating the humans, if I may use that word, from the rest of species. And otherwise it's all one, you have no separate and independent existence of you. Religion, that's a dirty word for me. It is the religious thinking that has destroyed the possibility of human species to flower into something extraordinary. And it is the religious thinking that has separated the human species from the rest of the species on this planet. And not only that, religious thinking has gone one step further and made us believe that we are on this planet for nobler and grander purposes than the other species on this planet. But as a matter of fact, we are no more grander and nobler than the other species.
My name is Robert Carr, and welcome to this series of informal videos that were taken over the last 2 years with a group of people from all walks of life who have one thing in common. They have all met a man named U.G. Krishnamurti. They all feel that in some way he has made a tremendous impact on their lives to help them better understand what living is. So I welcome you to this series, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
That man and madness changed me forever.
Can you tell me how you first came to know about UG?
I was a Rajni sannyasi wearing orange robes, with this mala around my neck. I remember I was in a bungalow in Juhu. I'd gone to see this actor friend of mine, Vinod Khanna, who was also a Rajneesh devotee. And I was carrying a book called The Awakening of Intelligence by J. Krishnamurti.
Yeah.
And there was a meek-looking, Woody Allenish kind of a guy called Pratap Karwat, who walked up to me and very gently asked me to show me the book which I was carrying. And I gave him this book, and then he flipped through it, and he was a book junkie. And he said that, do you know there's another Krishnamurti who comes to India every year, and he claims to have made it. I mean, he is in the same state as J. Krishnamurti is. That's what Pratap said. Would you like to meet him? And since at that time one was very single-mindedly pursuing the mystical experience and was shopping around in the spiritual super bazaar. So we said, why not also examine this product, which is around.
But did you think that way, a product at that time? Or that came later or something?
No, the idea, as you rightly said, that he is a product came dawned on me later on after meeting Yuji. But the idea of this, the world that I was looking at had so many seers and sages who had so many sparkling insights to give about this fascinating world that I had experienced on LSD was exhilarating. So I immediately said yes. I gave him a number. I said, call me when he comes. And one day the phone rang, months later. And then he said, Yuji is here. And then I had nothing to do. I was not very busy. I didn't have much work. My career had taken off disastrously. I had got 3 flops to my credit already. And I was just struggling to make ends meet. And so I landed up at Yuji's doorsteps. It was in Velaparla, the suburbs of Mumbai. And I still remember the scent of tobacco, because there was a tobacco factory, a cigarette factory next door. And there was this clamor of the city outside, and a squeaky staircase. I walked up, and I remember he opened the door, and this man just let us in. His face eclipsed everything around. There was something about him. There was a quiet which was very disturbing. And I immediately noticed that this kind of silence that I felt around Yuji even then, without not knowing him, was quite different qualitatively. I have to use the word qualitatively for not any, I don't have any other word to supply at the moment. Different from the kind of peace one has felt on 1000 miles of LSD or with Rajneesh after meditation. It was quite different. And I couldn't figure out what he was saying. It's not what he was saying, but there was the manner in which he was conducting himself. But the kind of emphasis what he was saying was. I remember once I dropped acid and Yuji was coming over to Praveen's place, and I wanted to it was my fantasy that I would drop acid and I would be in the company of what is called an enlightened man. It's like multiplying your chances of getting a more intimate glimpse of what is perhaps there hidden. And so what I did was I dropped acid and I called Yuji, and Yuji came. We were in Praveen's place, and I told him I had acid, and he was not judgmental about it. And I remember holding his hand, and you'll be surprised, Bob, that did nothing happen. There was no psychedelic experience. Nothing. There was only physical animal energy.
Well, basically that's what Yuji seems to be all about.
But I think what to me Yuji has always been, he has made me realize that this is the only world. I remember this when we were crossing a street in Tokyo. He said the damn peace that you're looking for, if it doesn't operate right here in the middle of this din of the traffic, then it isn't worth pursuing. And fight, compete, rivalry, one-upmanship is a reality of this world.
It's a tough world.
It's a tough world. This is the world. There is no way out of this world. And anybody who is telling you there is a way out is making it difficult for you to really function efficiently within that. And I think that is one hell of a contribution that he has made.
Would you say that's the basic effect he's had on your life?
No one has met me in my life who has said with such passion. I remember he turned to me once, we were driving in a cab, I remember exactly, it was in Worli. And we were talking about, I was a struggling film director, and he turned to me and said with such passion, I will never forgive you if you're not successful. And I just felt that now I had a reason to go hammer and tongs after what I thought he wanted out of me. Little did I realize this is what I wanted out of myself.
He was bringing that
He was
out.
just bringing it out, and he was just an excuse. I need to tell myself, I'm doing it for Yuji. He doesn't give a damn whether I'm successful or not successful. In fact, you go with all your success to him, and the person who's the most unsuccessful perhaps has more significance and more importance in his to him.
He's a paradox because he praises people who are successful and
Yeah.
talks about success as the only goal in life.
But dismissing.
But yet he himself seems to be untouched.
Yeah, because he doesn't gain anything from your success. I mean, I have no. I mean, it is for me. It's not some kind of out of indebtedness that I say this now. I perhaps was crushed by a feeling of indebtedness some time ago because of my background and being part of this whole human structure of the teacher-student relationship. Indebtedness is a very natural kind of a byproduct of a relationship. What I must say that is that what he made me realize is that what he brings out of you is essentially you. I think you can use Yuji as a tool to achieve status in this world. He is an expert. He has a sharp mind. He has tremendous insights about the world and about the arts, about everything. He has an opinion which is so refreshing. And that refreshing look at the human nature and the world and your own craft can contribute immensely. And I think that if you see my work, if you see my movies, the movies that I made after I met Yuji, and the movies that I made after the trauma that I experienced with Parveen, have left an indelible mark on the consciousness of this country, cinematic history, and also contributed largely to my career.
Do you think there's anything original?
I feel that his it's not what he says which is original. It is his audacity. His audacity. I've never seen a person in my entire life with that audacity. A man who just doesn't want, the audacity of not to want anything from anyone at any level.
That's that gulf separation you feel that you can't touch him.
It's fire. It just is burned. It cannot. Its nature is that. I would say that it doesn't want also is wrong. It just burns. It cannot have no relationship.
He was
just
talking to
burns.
me in Switzerland, and he said, Bob, please don't present me as a religious man, a spiritual man. And
I did tell him, I said, Bob said to me that I cannot but help looking at him through that frame. There's no other way. So he said, at least he's being honest. Yeah, but that is the limitation of the format that we're using.
Yeah.
The format itself,
the frame created.
it doesn't exist without that, the religious format. There wouldn't be a format.
Or if a person asks you about him, they're always asking from that framework. And so to touch them or talk to them, communicate, you have to use the framework.
So you necessarily have to say that, yes, this man added value to my life. Value means what? Value means the additive process in the direction of what has been prescribed by culture. Yes, he has added value in that worldly sense to me, that I had no money in my bank and today I have a lot of money, or I have name, I am somebody in the scheme of things.
Bound by Yuji's, health.
Yeah.
And then you said to me later on that, okay, I've released that.
Yeah, I think I've come to terms with my own ending, in a way.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I think so. I think when I was frightened at the idea of him going away, dying. I remember calling him one night in Switzerland, in Los Angeles. I was drunk and I used to call him every
This was a long time
5
ago.
minutes, yeah, I used to drink. And I made his life hell. I called him again and again, and I said, I'm just worried. I remember I was drunk. I said, I don't know what's going to happen to me if you're going to die. He said, you want to know? You'll be all right. And I couldn't ever believe that I would perhaps come, like when I left him this time again, there was no formal bye-bye, goodbye,
No,
Yuji.
no.